welcome to Tantrum House. I'm Kevin Delp.
And I'm Melissa Delp.
We're happy that you joined us today. We're going to be looking at a game, Hardback. It is a deck-building word game for 2 to 4 players. It is a prequel to Paperback, and it's on Kickstarter right now.
Yeah, players in the game are 19th century novelists who are trying to earn money with their stories and gain prestige in the literary world. The player who has the most points when the end of the game is triggered wins.
Here's a look at some of the main prototype components. There are letter cards in 4 different genres: adventure, mystery, horror, and romance. There are also cards for each player's start deck and colored markers for each player. There are ink cubes and remover cubes. There are also components that you can see on the Kickstarter campaign.
Hardback begins like many other deck builders. Each player has a start deck of 10 cards. 8 of those cards are the same letters everyone else has. The final 2 cards are randomly dealt from a pool of other starting letters. Each card in your starting deck will either give you money or prestige points when it's played.
On your turn, you draw 5 cards and try to make a word. Unlike Paperback, there aren't specific wild cards in the deck. You can choose to turn over any number of cards to make them wilds. You just won't get the benefit listed on the face of the cards. Once you play a word, you immediately score your prestige points and spend your money. Then you discard your entire hand whether or not you use the letters and draw 5 more cards.
When you spend your money, you can purchase new letters from the offer row. The price of each letter card is listed at the bottom. You can also buy ink cubes for 1 coin each.
Getting cards not only increases your letter choices, but also gives you more powerful actions and rewards, especially if you can draw several cards of the same genre. The reward above the line activates whenever you play the card face up in a word. The reward below the line is for combos and triggers only if you have another card from the same genre in your word.
And each genre specializes in certain types of actions or rewards. I think it's funny that the romance cards let you trash cards, because everyone knows they're just trashy romance novels.
Another interesting thing in the game is the persistent cards. They're indicated with a horizontal letter instead of a vertical one. When you play these cards, they stay in front of you. On your next turn, you can get the benefits whether or not you use it in a word, and they can trigger combos with the same genre. But they're not necessarily permanent. If another player uses your persistent letter, it gets moved into your discard pile.
Now we get to word length. None of the action cards or letter cards actually let you draw more cards from your deck. So if you ever want to make a word that is longer than 5 letters, you're going to have to either use persistent cards, it can be yours or other players, or you can also use ink. You can spend an ink cube to draw another card, but this can be a gamble. Whatever cards you draw using ink, you have to use them in your word, and you have to use them as those letters, not as wilds. If you press your luck too far, you might end up with something unplayable, and then you'll lose your turn and discard all your cards.
Now, pressing your luck with those ink cubes is probably one of my favorite parts in the game. I mean, you can draw some pretty cool combos to help you in the game, and then sometimes you can get some cards you're like, I don't know how I'm going to make words out of these. Now, one nice thing in Hardback is that you can ask other players for suggestions, but if you do take one of their suggestions for your card, for your word, then that player actually gets all the ink cubes that you use, plus 1 more from the supply. And now one helpful thing that we used in our games, what we did in our games, was we actually started using the ink cubes while other players were going. That way, by the time it got around to our turn, we were a little bit more ready for the word we were trying to make.
Yeah, I agree. It helps speed it along a little bit. Now, in terms of deck building games, I would compare Paperback to Dominion and Hardback to Star Realms. See, in Paperback, you have you actually buy your point cards and put them into your deck, kind of like the duchies and provinces. And there's also a pool of cards that you buy from. The different prices are already set out there for you. Now, in Hardback, the cards that you're going to buy are all randomly flipped. Also, you have those genre cards that combo with each other, and that's a lot like the factions in Star Realms. And then finally, those persistent cards, they actually remind me a lot of the outposts and the bases in Star Realms.
But the goal in Hardback is different than Star Realms because you're trying to get points in Hardback, not attack each other. So the artwork really does feel like that 19th century time frame. The artwork looks great. The iconography is easy to read. Sometimes some of the letters you sort of have to look at, is that a Q or a P or an O? But most of the time it's pretty easy to figure out what the letters are.
I'm a writer, and so I love word games. And I enjoyed this one too. I really enjoyed the part where you have the different combos and the different actions on the cards. Some of them, they will trigger a card next to them. So I'm looking at the cards in my hand and I'm like, oh, I can make this word, but if I can get this O next to this V, then I can actually score more points. So I really enjoyed that, but there could be the tendency for people to take long turns if they're trying to get the perfect combo. So you just need to kind of watch that and with your group kind of decide, hey, is it okay to take forever, or do you really need to move things along and make a word and not try to find the perfect word?
I really enjoyed this game Hardback as well, and if you enjoy paperback, this is like the next level. I think you'll really enjoy Hardback as well. So thank you for watching our show here. Be sure to check out Hardback on Kickstarter and be sure to subscribe. Thank you.